All right, thanks a lot, guys. Welcome, everyone, to Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Florida Field, a.k.a. the Swamp, where number 1 Florida is going for it on 4th down and short on its opening possession of the ball game. Rex Grossman, complete to Gaffney, 1st down and goal to go.
Well, Mark, that's the play they hit in the beginning of the game. Rex Grossman hits Jabbar Gaffney on the 7 route. It's a gutsy call. They didn't have an outlet receiver in the flat, so that was all or nothing. Now, the Marshall corner was in good position to make the play. Gaffney used his body and shielded him well.
Jabbar Gaffney coming off an all-SEC performance a year ago as a redshirt freshman. He was the National Freshman of the Year, and he has overcome a lot of personal obstacles in the process. Grossman a season ago, 21 touchdown passes, also first team All-SEC. And he is the one that has emerged from this quarterbacking controversy for the last 3 months. Grossman into the end zone, incomplete, intended for Gaffney. Let's take a look at the skilled position players behind the quarterback, Rex Grossman. Earnest Graham, who had a couple of key runs just a few moments ago.
Earnest
Brought to you by Bud Light. Graham, Snell, Walker, Gaffney, and Caldwell.
Well, Gaffney's the guy. He's an All-American. He showed on the first couple of plays. He knows how to run routes. He knows where he is on the football field. He can bring the ball in.
Those guys going to have to make some plays for Steve Spurrier's gang today. Toss to Graham. And Graham slides down to the 8-yard line. Up front, the offensive line for Florida, big and talented. Mike Pearson, an Outland candidate, on the left side of the line at tackle.
Well, you like 2 big tackles. The other guy, Max Starks, son of Ross Browner, former All-American from Notre Dame.
The Marshall defensive line, Chris, a little bit undersized.
Well, they're going to have to hold their own now. And watch for them to get tired, because Florida will drop back the pass. You get tired rushing the passer.
Ralph Street, number 34, one of the leaders up front, rushing off the edge. 3rd and goal for the Gators. Grossman under duress this time. Intended for Gaffney, incomplete, and no flag on the play. Terrence Tarpley, the defender on the play for the Thundering Herd.
One thing that helped Marshall in that situation, they had 8 on the 8-yard line. It's easier to defend because you use it back in the end zone as an extra man.
Look at the new 4-4-3 defense. There's the 4 linebackers. They're going to have to cover a lot. And the secondary people, just 2 cornerbacks making their first starts. Satterwhite and Terrence Tarpley. Crocker is the guy they think is all conference. In to attempt the field goal now is 93, Talcott. And his inexperience showing. That was one of the concerns for Spurrier coming into this game. He misses from 25 yards. Brent Talcott.
Yeah, Mark, if you were here early and you watched him warm up, he wasn't booting that ball with a lot of confidence.
So a very inauspicious beginning for the Gators on its opening drive. We'll be back right after this.
2's presentation of primetime college football is brought to you by Cisco Systems, empowering the internet generation. And by New Balance, makers of performance footwear and apparel.
Mark Jones, Chris Spielman, Holly Rowe back at Florida Field. Well, here's where the story begins for Florida. Jeff Chandler is serving a 1-game suspension as part of a deal to get an extra year of eligibility. That meant number 93, Brent Talcott, is 1/3 of the kicking troika for the Gators. Matt Leach is another one, as is Matt Piotrowicz, who does kickoffs. Chandler, number 49, is the one that is serving the suspension as part of the deal to get that 6th year of eligibility. On 1st and 10, flag down. Number 11, Chanston Rogers, is brought down, and this one might come back for Marshall.
Anytime the white hat throws a flag, you know it's a hold. It's me excited. Sweat even more.
Spoken like a true linebacker. Head to punt. Florida can end up with good field position after this one, you would think. Lito Shepard back at the 40. Shepard trying to get to the edge. Pushed out of bounds at the 32-yard line. Lito Shepard giving them a little bit of the Lido shuffle. The Gators off to a great start when we come back.
That's effort. That's a guy who wants to score and who knows how to score. All started with field position, Mark. Marshall can't play on their side of the field.
And punt return by Shepard. Set up a short field. Talcott in for the extra point. After missing a field goal, he knocks this one through. And the Gators, in front of the hometown fans, lead 7-0. Earnest Graham last season averaged 5.6 yards per rush. Did a good job here, Chris.
You see Earnest Graham right here. One thing that makes the back good is vision and power. Now, if you're Marshall, you need to come up and make the hit, especially on the 5-yard line. You'll see Max Yates right here coming in. Antoine Jones coming in. Goins coming in. You guys got to come up and you got to make a hit. And if you're close to the goal line, you better take him high in the head, not down low, because one thing a good back does is they always fall forward. Hit him in the head, boys, not low.
A short drive resulting in a touchdown. Let's go downstairs to Holly Rowe.
Right now, the mood on the Marshall sideline is a little bit deflated. They came out and were really physical, mixing it up, actually getting into quite a bit of pushing and shoving with Florida, as if to say, we're in your house and we're going to make a statement. But that last score has definitely deflated them. Byron Leftwich met his defense as they came off the field to try to get them to keep their heads up.
Leftwich, no doubt the beacon of leadership on that team. And, you know, you go back to the leadership of their head coach, Bob Pruitt. Yesterday, when we had a chance to meet with him, Chris, he really was very humorous, very loose, very animated. Didn't seem like the whole situation was bothering them too much, although he says it was a bit of a distraction. But his team, you would think, would take his cue and come out loose. So far, they find themselves behind 7-0. This is Josh Davis on the return. And Davis is brought down at the 24.
You know, one thing Marshall's got to get used to, and they'll get used to it as the game comes on, is the speed of this Florida football.
Earnest Graham with his second touchdown of the game.
Mark, one of the things that makes a great running back is patience and vision. Much like another Florida back, Emmitt Smith. That's what's made him so great throughout his years in the NFL, is his patience and vision. And Ernest showed it right there.
Earnest Graham, 5.6 yards per rush a season ago. Led Florida in rushing in 1999 with 654 yards as the Gators storm out to a 14-0 lead as we take another look at the handiwork of Grossman and Graham.
Yeah, nothing to the side of the play. Again, speed and vision. It's great recognition by a veteran running back.
Think he's a little geeked up about this one, the season opener?
I'll tell you, there's nothing like playing it in the season opener and knowing that you're number one and starting fast and coming out and proving that you're the number one football team in the country.
Earnest Graham.
Was Gillespie there, congratulating his buddy.
Gillespie surely will see some action as the backup tailback. But Graham lost a few pounds and says he feels a lot quicker and stronger. And showed a lot of speed, a nice burst going into the end zone that time.
Yes, he did. And there's Rand Carthon, son of Maurice Carthon, now the running backs coach with the Detroit Lions. I talked to Maurice this week. He's excited about Rand getting some PT this week.
It's a deep cast of running backs, receivers, and quarterbacks, as always, up in Gainesville.
And we have skill. We got a big recruiting pool down here in the state of Florida. That's why the Michigans and Ohio States come down there and get a lot of their skilled people.
Yachowicz kicking off. And the defense is still swarming. Browning brought down.
Have a hard enough time covering these guys. It'll be much difficult for linebackers to cover. They asked Charles Tynes to take away a 7 route, which is a post corner route. It's basically impossible because he had no help deep when you're on a corner route.
Florida seemingly finding every match they want and every mismatch they desire. Talcott with the extra point, and it's 21-0 for the Gators. Caldwell, the 6'1 junior, 28 yards for the touchdown.
Yeah, you see Caldwell, who's going to push the field now. He's got a zone defense, and they're asking Tynes and Max Yates to cover him. Well,
Battle. I want to stop short of calling it a controversy because it was a healthy battle, but a spirited one between Brock Berlin and Rex Grossman. And Grossman says that, hey, he wants to remain the starter the entire season.
And you know what? Competition makes everybody better, and it's showing tonight.
It is the most scrutinized position on the field in Gainesville to play quarterback. 3 plays, 43 yards, using a minute 12 on the clock. And the Gators have a 21-0 lead.
Yeah, we got about an 8.5 minute, 1.5 minute time of possession. It's tough to score if you don't have the football.
The Otteruits kicking off. Marshall could use some good field position. Browning continues to get pounded. Let's go downstairs to Holly Rowe.
Well, guys, one of the early problems for Marshall has been the crowd noise down here. This is the largest crowd they have ever played in front of in school history. Now, they knew it would be a problem, so at practice up in Huntington, they blared music from the speakers. Bobby Pruitt said he picked the best of the SEC, Rocky Top, the Orange and Blue, and more. They even played Jaws, but it hasn't helped so far. They are really struggling to hear in this very noisy crowd. They're trying some hand signals and wristbands, but right now it's been a struggle, and that's why their offense continues to struggle.
Holly, I hope they weren't playing tax at any time.
Mark, one thing you can do to combat that is you can go to the shotgun.
No, Shepard standing on his 10. James for the corner, and he'll get it. Wow. Pinning Florida down on its own 3-yard line. Curtis Head was among the national leaders in punting average and net punting last season at 40.7 per punt. A 39-yard punt and nothing on the return, but that's the first quarter in the books, dominated by the Gators. Graham with a pair of scores, and Rex Grossman pulling the trigger. We'll be right back. And Caldwell, 3rd down and 20.
Big draw. Going to run the draw.
Grossman audibling. There's Gillespie on the draw. And Gillespie brought down at the 43-yard line. So a pretty good defensive sequence for the Herd defense that time.
Oh, it is, and they were helped out by the penalty, obviously. But I'll tell you what, they're going to get a feel for what Florida's trying to do offensively. I'm getting a feel for what they're trying to do offensively when you start calling out their audibles. That was a draw play all the way. Why? Because the fullback shifted in front of the tailback. That way he become a better angle for being a lead blocker.
One of the keys that you would think the Herd would pick up on during the course of the evening. Leach punting. Marshall looking for that big play on special teams. Instead, Florida will down it at the 1-yard line. Wow. How do you spell big play? Matt Leach.
Most farmers and ranchers I know.
11-13 to play in the first half. Florida leading 21-0, defending its lofty #1 ranking. Leach with a great punt that was down on the 2-yard line just a few moments ago. Easing some of the concerns in the punting game, at least momentarily, for Steve Spurrier.
Not a bad post for Marshall to go ahead and let one fly.
They run it out of their own end zone. Leftwich out to the 5. Downstairs to Holly Rowe.
Standing by with former Gator great Chris Collinsworth, who was honored here for going into the Academic Hall of Fame. That's got to be a nice honor. You were an All-American in school, but now you continued your career in academics.
It's almost hard to believe, really, when you think back on our school days. Norm Carlson and so many people here did a great job really promoting us, and it was really fun. It's just a ball for me being back. I've been working Sundays a long time.
Well, one of the things that people may not remember, you still hold the NCAA record for the longest touchdown pass thrown, a 99-yarder. Do you remember the guy who was on the other end of that?
I do. Derek Gaffney, his son Jabbar's out here playing now. I told him when they had it on the replay board, I was more worried about him getting in tonight watching the replay than I was when it actually happened. But he did a great job. He found a way to get it home.
Well, as we would have it, we have the man that was on the other side of that pass. You made that tremendous reception. You played here as such a great football player, but you're trying to breathe that into your son, Jabbar. I understand you were working him out hard all summer.
Yes, we did. You know, one of my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ on our side, what would we be? Jabbar had a tremendous work ethic. He worked out real hard, and it's showing proof right now today tonight.
Well, it can't hurt to have his dad on the Jumbotron. He's got to know what you're talking about now, right?
Oh, and no question about it. You know, repetition after repetition. There's no question about it. He does.
All right, thank you very much. And Chris, I only got this interview with Chris because he wanted to at least say one thing to you.
Yeah, Chris, make sure you talk about some of the offensive guys. This is not an entirely defensive football game. You understand that?
All right, pencil neck.
Back up to you guys.
Caldwell, a 6'1" junior himself, a.k.a. Showbiz Caldwell, showing some skills right there. 8 career touchdowns.
Yeah, you'd think if they had Chandler eligible for this game, they maybe go for a field goal. That not being the case, they're going to throw it in the end zone.
4th down and 5. Offense still on the field. Caldwell split wide to the top of your screen. Grossman has a man. Complete. Gillespie. Touchdown! What an effort!
Well, a couple of things on that play, Mark. Rex Grossman showed that he's an athlete. He bought time with his feet. He understands where his receivers are. Gillespie was his check down receiver. And also, in the first game, you have to worry about making tackles. Marshall missed tackles on that play. Result, touchdown, Florida.
You see that happen, Chris, so often early in the season. The extra point is good. Graham has 2 touchdowns. Gillespie now gets his first. Sidelines. Inside one of those cool fans. 27-yard touchdown reception. Most of it came on the yak, the yards after catch.
Yes, sir.
What an impressive drive, 92 yards.
You know, Mark, the NFL is starting to become this way that it's a 2-back league, and college football copies the NFL. You have 2 backs to keep fresh bodies coming at the defense. It's an advantage.
Especially in this heat. This is Curtis Jones taking it out of the end zone. And Jones is brought down at the 17-yard line.
Florida recognized it, exploited it, did a great job, and you see the veteran that Rex Grossman is. Even though he's only a sophomore, he's still a veteran by recognizing that. And another receiver, Taylor Jacobs. They just keep coming with weapons.
Yeah, Caldwell, Jacobs, Gaffney, Knight, Kite, Perez, Jackson, and the beat goes on and on for the Florida Gators. Marshall, a look of bewilderment on their collective faces. 32 seconds to play in the first half. Josh Davis colored at the 17-yard. Was the fact that they had switched their defense to a 4-4-3 alignment. A lot of pressure by the linebackers. Island for the corners. Hasn't worked out so far.
Well, you're almost forced into playing a 3-deep type coverage. You can hardly play a lot of cover, too, because of the 8th man being up in the box all the time. Now, I don't know if that's the right thing. I wouldn't do it against the Florida team, but he knows his personnel better than I do. You have to get back, make them run the ball to beat you. You can't let Florida throw the football. They throw it, and successful, it's over.
And that pretty much has been the story of our ESPN2 game track. Rex Grossman with 343 yards passing. That is a career high for Grossman after just 2 quarters of play. Jabbar Gaffney.
Overs are getting pressure. Rex Grossman, right? Any question that anybody had about Rex Grossman, take a look at what he's done. The questions have been answered.
So a lot of touch and made a lot of plays. Marshall kicking off. A short kick that comes down to the 18. And Florida will start off with good field position at its own 30-yard line. Take a look.
He said his players still have some fight left in them, but they're making so many mental mistakes they're not able to play with any confidence right now. He was telling his kids at halftime they have to clean up the mistakes. Now for Steve Spurrier, he said they will work on the running game, as you can see on their first play from scrimmage. He also said
this year he feels more comfortable. He's reading the whole field and being able to deliver the ball in an expeditious manner.
14-22 now, Chris. 110 yards for Leftwich. First and 10. Florida blitzing off the corner. Leftwich showing a little strength, getting away from one would-be tackler, but not the second. Gus Scott almost had him, and then Alex Brown finished him off.
Yeah, Gus had a good hit on him, and he's feeling the hit. When you hit a quarterback the size of an offensive lineman, you are going to feel the hit. You see, this is the strength of Byron Leftwich, is his size to be able to take these hits. He tried to wrap his arms. It's a nice job of Byron of eating the football, not making a mistake of trying to throw it away. Maybe an interception.
Alex Brown finally making the sack. And speaking of Alex Brown, there were some issues about his work ethic, and he seems very poised and ready to answer all those questions of his critics this year.
Yeah, absolutely. And tonight so far he has, Mark. He's been giving great effort all night.
Rogers, little inside handoff. Rogers out to the 49-yard line on Florida's side of the field, brought down by Scott. About 5 yards to go for the first down. On third down coming up for Marshall.
You know, Alex had thoughts about coming out next year, or last year. Talked to a couple NFL personnel people. They felt that he was a second, third, or fourth round pick.
Interesting.
I talked to him this year. With him staying in, he's a projected first rounder at this time.
He's trying to lift up to that lofty status. 22.5 career sacks at Florida. 5th on the books. And moving up. 3rd and 6 for Leftwich, and brought down, sacked to the 43. Andre Davis put it on him.
Andre Davis is the guy that's a leader of this defense. They didn't have him last year. When John Hoke, the defensive coordinator, talked about Andre Davis, a glimmer in his eye, because he knows that they need him to be successful. And Andre Davis not quitting on the play and securing the tackle and knocking the big man backwards.
There you go.
Well, he's a middle linebacker.
He's got heart, right?
He's got it all.
Head to punt. Lito Shepard on his 15. Lets it bounce out of bounds at the 15-yard line.
They're kicking away from Lito.
You got it.
Andre Davis. You know what? There's an old saying my father used to say, you can't cook with cold grease. He's bringing all kinds of heat. Byron Leftwich, the quarterback for Marshall, on the phone seeking answers to his questions. Questions that might never be answered. Not tonight, anyway. 1st and 10 for the Gators from their own 7-yard line. Grossman hands it off to Graham. Graham out to the 6-yard line. Let's go downstairs to Holly. And Holly, Alex Brown really does have reason to be motivated, doesn't he?
Well, that's right. The addition of Ricky Hundley to the defensive coaching staff has been a big motivator for Alex Brown. He got a bad rep last year for taking some plays off. But what Ricky Hundley's doing, he says, hey, I don't need you to play hard all out for 60 minutes. I need 5 or 6 seconds at a spurt. He wants that intensity on defense, but it needs to come in spurts. Alex is doing just that.
Sure is. Graham, meanwhile, taking it outside. Stopped up at the 14, about 4 yards short of the first down. Yancey Satterwhite making the stop. And part of the strategy, getting back to what Ollie was talking about, is Ricky Hundley isn't afraid of rolling in a lot of different guys up on that defensive line, Chris, for Brown.
No, you talk about how college football follows the NFL. Well, that's the trend in the NFL. They see that it's successful because you're bringing fresh bodies in that defensive line to put pressure on the offensive line, where obviously you can't substitute because offensive line needs to work together like fingers in a glove.
3rd down and 4. Graham didn't get the first down. Nice defensive sequence that time for the Thundering Herd defense. Kelvin Smith making the tackle on Graham that time. And in comes the punting unit. Marshall still looking for that big play on special teams that Bob Pruitt had referred to coming into this contest. That's one of the places that he looked at as being able to be in an advantageous position for them.
Yeah, Matt Leach is a young punter. They're coming after it.
Brought up a high one. All the way back to the 37-yard line. Josh Davis had no chance of the return. Much to the delight of the fans here this one.
ESPN2's presentation of primetime college football is brought to you by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control. And by Refresh brand eye drops. Relieve and protect dry, irritated eyes with Refresh.
Mark Jones, Chris Spielman, and Holly Rowe back at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium at Florida Field. 6:43 to play in the third quarter. Marshall still trying to crack the scoreboard. Leftwich connects with Watts. Touchdown Marshall. That's the play they've been trying to hit on 3 times, and they finally connect.
Yeah, they're 2 for 3. This time they connected big. The safety got caught peeking inside a little bit. Watts beats the corner down the sidelines, and you're talking about a big-time arm. You saw it right there from Leftwich.
Darius Watts was gone.
Darius Watts does a good job of escaping the bump and run. Gets to the outside, the corner loses leverage. The safety has got to be up over here. On top of that receiver in cover 2. He was caught looking inside. Speed got Watts to the end zone.
His 7th career touchdown. You know, he was one of just 2, and the extra point is no good. It's blocked.
Well, Alex Brown blocked the kick, and you talk about effort. When you're up 35-7 and you rush the field goal kicker and block a PAT, that's effort.
Yeah, no question about him taking time off, much to the delight of Ricky Hundley there on his left. But Leftwich turned on Watts, got the power going. Marshall finally on the board. 35-6, and boy, Florida not giving up even though they have a commanding lead. Look at the effort here on the extra point.
Yeah, it is great effort by Alex Brown. And I'll tell you what, you got a light long snapper in there. You line up your tough guy, you come in there, block the kick. And he's upset about that because I'll tell you what you do, Bob Poole. Next time they have a field goal or punt, you line up your best tough guy over that long snapper and run right over him.
Blast him, right? Like you said, but easier said than done.
Yeah.
Alex Brown's packing some punch at almost 260.
Yes, he is. Plus, he has burst, Mark. That's something you can't coach.
6.5 minutes to play in the third period as Marshall finally scores. Short kick. They don't want to kick it to Lito Shepherd, but Rand Carthon has got a little juice too. Let's go back to our man with juice in the studio, Reese.
Have a little juice, Mark, and I never cook with cold grease either. And you got to be sound in the kicking game, boys.
He's excited though. He's going up against his former high school teammate.
Well, if he's
Aaron Walker.
If he's excited, then go back to your teammates and high-five your teammates.
There you go. Went to Astronaut High School in Titusville, Florida. He came into this game saying, you know, we've played at Clemson, at Michigan State, at North Carolina. It's not our first big game. The Swamp is just enough.
Well, I don't know if they won any games against those teams when they went down there. I think did they beat North Carolina when they went there?
I don't think so.
No. So there's a difference between playing and winning.
Good idea of how long and how arduous and hard the road ahead is for them.
Well, you know, I think he's right. They're probably a middle road Big Ten SEC team. But this is the top of the SEC right here.
Davis calls for the fair catch at the 35-yard line. Marshall's not going to turn the motor off. They're going to try and score. 10:44 to play. We'll be right back. Gillespie again looking for room over that left side. Nice tackle by Max Yates. Max Yates has not given up. Number 5, folks, is still bringing it.
No, he's a big-time player, and he has a chance to play on Sundays. And one of the strengths of Max Yates is his instincts. Right here, if you're going to play in the NFL, you got to be able to flow sideline to sideline. He's unblocked. He makes a good play and a good tackle. You'll see, Gillespie didn't even see him coming. And that's the thing. That's where you got to be able to close those holes quickly if you're a middle linebacker.
First down and 10. Gillespie cut it back. Started off right, came back towards the middle over the center, brought down by Satterwhite. Now let's talk about quarterback Rex Grossman for a little bit. He has been outstanding today. Mentioned that his grandfather played quarterback for the Hoosiers. His father played quarterback at Indiana from 70 to 72 and is now the athletic department's ophthalmologist. He recruited Florida, Chris, as much as they recruited him. Got together a film, sent it to Spurrier, and when they finally met, the response from the coaching staff at Florida was, son, we usually don't recruit Indiana. How would that make you feel?
Well,
Gets rid of it there.
You understand that if you want your son to develop into a good quarterback, why not send him to one of the best throwing schools and maybe one of the best quarterback coaches in the country, who also happens to be the head football coach.
That time Grossman might be whistled for grounding, which he is. Threw it away and is penalized as a result.
Well, finally, Marshall's able to get some good pressure here. They run a nice little Tom game. That's a tackles inside, guys coming around. Rex again maybe want to make a little bit better decision. You want to make maybe a better decision there and go ahead and take the sack. That way you don't lose down. Now it's third down as opposed to second.
And back to that story about how he recruited Florida. It was coming close to signing day time, and Coach Spurrier was waiting on the responses of a couple of other prospects and finally just said, you know what, I like this guy, and it's worked out ever since.
Well, Steve does like his carefree attitude, and that maybe helped him deflect some of the criticism that I'm sure he gets while playing quarterback in Florida.
Third and long, 15 to go. Grossman can't escape this time. Brought down and sacked at the 46.
Well, if I'm Kevin Kelly, I'm encouraged because I'm seeing my defense still give great effort. Even though you're down 35-6, they're still coming and they're bringing it. Rex makes a good decision. Marshall made sure they had 4 guys deep. Florida ran an all-seams route. That means 4 guys go deep. He made a decision to hold on to the football and not make a bad throw. An interception.
Punt, and this is going to be another good situation for Florida. Leach with a nice punt, no return. Let's go downstairs to Holly Rowe. Bob Pruitt coaching right until the end. There's a flag down on the field, though. Pruitt talking to Gladstone Cope. This is against Marshall. Grossman, his 3rd touchdown of the ball game. Let's take a look at our ESPN2 game track. Story of the game so far: Grossman, 3 passing touchdowns, throwing darts. That one to his tight end Walker, and handing off most of the time to Ernest Graham, who has 3 touchdowns. And oh, by the way, Jabbar Gaffney, over 102 yards receiving today.
They're getting it done on all 3 plays. They're throwing the ball well, they're catching well, and they're running well. They're doing everything well.
This one out of bounds, and Marshall now with an opportunity to start its offense on the 35-yard line as a result. Sept, when he didn't make All-MAC, despite leading the league in passing yards, completions per game, total offense, and touchdown passes, and quarterback rating. He's motivated, but I want to know who is voting.
I don't. Some haters, some Marshall haters.
They were hating on him. Somebody was.
He's a big guy. He makes Dante Culpepper look like Doug Flutie.
6'6", 240. When given time tonight, you get an example of what he can do.
You know, I'm impressed with his intelligence of being able to read the football field and not only going to his 1st or 2nd option, but he has known where his 3rd option's been and delivered the football to him.
Marshall taking it short again. Ooh, and they are still hitting.
The Marshalls had trouble all night covering the post corner, and this is a timing route. You can tell these guys work on this in practice because the second guys run it just as effective as the first guys. Brock Berlin delivered the football on cue. Perez, taking advantage of his opportunity, comes down with a touchdown catch.
And the extra point tacked on. But Brock Berlin. Carlos Perez connecting. It's like that old Kool and the Gang song, Chris. Just can't get enough. Well, that funky stuff. We'll be right back. Josh Davis taking it out from his own 5, brought down to the 19-yard line.
Ricky Nattiel, starting linebacker.